since the name of the conference is Power of Connection. We're going to talk a little bit about connecting our documents and requirements that we have in Confluence with our tickets in Jira. So I want to start with a quick problem overview. So basically, if you're using Atlassian tools, you can use Jira, Jira Software, Jira Core, Confluence. You can have all your requirements in Confluence, and then you would create some tasks to work on them in Jira. That's a fairly common scenario. Often business doesn't even go to Jira. They prefer to work on the high-level things in Confluence. So the question is quite clear how to connect these two things. And Jira out of the box actually offers quite a few things. So you have links that you can create between pages and tickets. You can insert Jira gadgets into Confluence pages and show some statistics, some useful graphs. There are, though, some, and let's see how that works, actually. I made a few short videos. Hopefully you can see what's going on from back there. So this is a fairly common scenario. You would have some Confluence page for your strategy or something, and you want to describe some new features that you need to develop in order to implement it. So just right in Confluence, you would go ahead, create a new page for your new requirements. And out of the box, if you have application links set up between your Jira and Confluence, you can create new issue, for example, right here from the Confluence page. So this is standard Jira functionality. It works really well. But there can be some complications if you're working on a large project. So in this example, it's a really big thing. And we don't link our requirements to just one task that will implement the complete requirements. It's actually a whole lot of work that we need to do to accomplish this. So we connect it to a task in Jira. We actually create a new task in Jira as we do now. And our linking will be created as we do it. Again, this is what you have out of the box. You can see how that happens once we save the page. But the tricky part is oftentimes your issue actually needs to be broken down into more and more issues. Sorry, it's getting a bit slow. So you can see the link. You can quickly actually navigate to the ticket in Jira, and you will be able to see the link on the issue back to the document. However, like I said, sometimes your issue in Jira needs to be broken down into more issues. And then you have a problem, because in this case we have an initiative, which we will break down into some epics and stories and subtasks. So when you're looking at the page, you only see the top-level item, and you don't get any insight in how many hours you've spent working on this initiative, how much time you still have to do. So you don't have that visibility, not on the Confluence page, but even in Jira on the top level, it's hard to see that. So basically right now we're just adding some sub-issues to our initiatives, just linking them using issue link. So yeah, you end up having this problem of a bit of disconnect. And also if you are someone working on a lower level, like on a subtask, it's really hard to find the requirements at the top, because from the subtask you'll have to go to the epic it's connected to, from the epic to the initiative, and only then you will see the page. So is there a way to solve this problem, to make it more visible, to allow developers easier find the documentation, and to allow business people to easily understand the scope, how much work they have left on a particular task, on a particular feature they described in Confluence? So in our case, the answer is structure and structure pages. Structure is our core tool, and how many people know what structure is? Okay, quite a few. So it's a project management tool for Jira that allows you to build hierarchies in Jira, which can represent pretty much anything. It can be work breakdown structure, it can be showing distribution of your work by fixed versions, sprints, anything. And then for the hierarchy, you can show all kinds of valuable metrics, which you can calculate right inside the structure. So we have some functionality for calculating progress based on the hierarchy, any numeric total. So for example, you're not logging any time on the initiative, you can quickly roll up all the hours to the initiative level, as in this case. Plus we have some features for more sophisticated calculations, doing some complex metrics, using formulas similar to Excel formulas. So this is the core product, and on top of that we have an extension called structure.pages, which allows you to work with Confluence pages. And let me show you how that works. So this is the structure, the new structure that we created. And we want to start by visualizing the kind of hierarchy we already created, which consists of some Confluence pages. We have actually two levels. We have the higher level strategy thing, and then the requirement, and then we have some issues linked to them. So we start by just pulling in one of the Confluence pages we created, this new directions page. This is our root element. And then our tool allows you to define a number of special rules based on which our structure will be created. We call them generators, and these rules can do, oh, okay, I skipped one part. So once you add pages into your structures, you can actually work with them right there. So you can edit the page, you have all the Confluence functionality right there. So you don't have to switch even to the Confluence back once you are starting to build your hierarchy in Jira, which does have pages in it. So right, the next step is to actually visualize what is underneath that page, because we want to get that top-down visibility across all the pages that we have and all the issues that we have. So the first step is to add the rule that will basically tell our structure to pull in all child pages. So as you add this rule, you can see that the child pages, we only had one, the one we've just created in the beginning. It got pulled in into our hierarchy, and the structure will keep it up to date. So if you create another page in Confluence, it will show up here automatically, or you can actually create new pages here right from the structure. So that's what we are doing now. We've just created a page in Confluence, and we can immediately link it to the parent page as well. So again, we are managing Confluence hierarchy through structure here. Right, so the next step in this case would be to show some issues which are linked to the pages. And for that, we have another type of the rule. So, like I said, all the hierarchies are built using these rules that we add. So just for different purposes, you can use different rules and use it some kind of toolbox. Depending on what you need to visualize, you can use different rules and get the results that you need. So as we've added another rule, you can see we got our initiative pulled in under the page. We are just visualizing the link that exists between page and the ticket. This is, again, standard functionality of Jira and Confluence. And then we can also visualize the remaining part of the hierarchy that we have using other types of rules, which help us visualize issue links, epic links, and subtask. So in the end, what you get is a complete hierarchy. And in this case, it's something very small, but imagine you have dozens of pages and thousands of issues. Having them as a flat list is not really convenient, but once it's inside the hierarchy, it makes it really easy to manage. Plus, as you can see, we start getting some numbers on these top levels, like time spent, remaining estimate, and numeric values can be rolled up, the progress. So for each of the things we are working on, even if it's represented with the Confluence page, we can still see all the essential information. So you can understand, okay, for this new feature, we've spent 2 days, we got 1 week remaining, and all that information is rolled up from the story levels, subtasks, if we log and do estimates there. So you get this really nice view. Another good thing with this hierarchy is that you can actually see it not just on the structure page, but you can see it on issue page. So for example, if you go to the subtask now, you can easily track where your requirements are. So maybe it's not quite clear from the task of this subtask or initiative or epic description, why are you doing this and what's the main idea? So you can quickly find all the relevant documentation right from Jira and quickly open the page. So the last step that we haven't done yet is giving our managers some more visibility into the project. Maybe they don't like go into Jira, they prefer to stay in Confluence. Jira is too complicated for them sometimes. So luckily we have something to offer them too. You can, once you've created your structures, you can insert them into Confluence pages. And for example, in this case, we've just created the one that visualizes all our work. We can just add the gadget into the page. We can select which structure we want to show, which set of columns we want to show, and once we do that, we'll see it on the Confluence page, so the person who is working on documentation, on whichever level, will be able to see the real-time status of this feature, of this requirement, of this initiative theme, whatever. And it's updated in real time, so there's no need to rebuild this report every time you open the page. You get the real-time results. You can drill down, so if you see that for some reason one part of it is not as far progressing as you would expect, you can see what's holding it back and do things like that. So to just sum it up, what this tool gives us, it allows us to manage our requirements and our tasks together in one place, building these complete hierarchies, giving us the complete understanding of the whole picture. Actually, you could see that we could also visualize the child pages and parent pages, so you can actually reproduce some parts of your Confluence in the hierarchy and manage some of the pages there. Again, with larger spaces, sometimes it's more convenient just to do it in structure. Plus, you can just do some smaller things for yourself. For example, I have my own personal structure with pages I frequently used, and it just helps me navigate much faster. Plus, I can add some relevant issues there as well. Yeah, so that's what these products do and how they help you solve this problem. For all conference participants, we offer a 50% discount for structure.pages. So if you already use structure, you can benefit from this or just get them together. And I'll be happy to take any questions if there are any. Okay, no questions. Thanks for listening. And yeah, I'll pass the mic back.
Thank you. Everything was clear and understandable.